ridiculous. Well, here's the thing.
Maybe. Sometimes.
Tell me about this. I want to know more.
Oh, yeah. No.
Holy cow.
We've had a lot of fun.
So, Catherine, I hear there's a burning issue in your town right now that's like, tearing everybody apart. What's going on?
It's very dramatic. New garbage cans and recycling bins. And everyone has to have them because they're going to have one of those trucks that automatically picks up the cans. So they all have to be the same. And wow, people have thoughts about this.
Oh, bad. Well, does everybody have to go buy something that is the same, or is it being provided for them?
It is being provided.
What's happening?
But you had to choose a size. And oh my goodness, that's so big and that's so small. And where am I going to put it? And that won't fit in my garage. And whoa.
Oh.
And they're only going to pick up the recycling every other week. So make sure you get one that's big enough to hold 2 weeks of your recycling. And you can't put an extra bag on the side. They will not pick it up. So,
now, was there abuse of the process that led the city to crack down in this way? Were people lining their sidewalks with 50 different sized bins and barrels and bags?
Well, yeah, before you could do that because there was no standard. And the issue is that they bought new trucks. And, the kind of trucks that have those arms that come out and pick up the trash and dump it. Where, and up until this point, it has been the guy jumps out of the truck, he picks up the can, he dumps it in the thing.
So that guy's out of a job now.
And people don't seem to be too worried about that. They are much more concerned about how they're going to fit these cans in their garage. Wow.
So your tax dollars have purchased this fancy new truck and all these new bins that now people don't want.
Yes, and it was just first there was this lengthy period where they had the cans on display in City Hall so you could go see exactly what size they were. And then they sent everybody a postcard and you had to mail it back with which size do you want. Or you could fill it out online or you could call them. And then... coincidentally, there was this weird incident where everything that was put at our post office on a certain day, somehow disappeared and didn't get mailed. And so if you sent your postcard in on that day, then you probably won't be getting the size of can that you ordered.
Oh, wow.
Oh no. My goodness. There is so much drama. So,
can you get multiple of the smaller size instead of one of the larger? Or you can only have one of each?
I think you can only have one of each, but I don't know, actually. We ordered the small garbage and the medium recycling, so
yes,
stay tuned to see how
that sounds like a bold statement of priorities right there. Are you lording that over your neighbors?
I would like to, I mean... Because right now, every week, the recycling is usually overflowing and the trash is not always full. So,
this sounds like a potential, has a great potential for judginess.
Yes.
Somebody with a big trash can and a small recycling is going to be judged like crazy. I see you don't care about the earth.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, wow.
Well,
boy.
Do better next time. So yeah, that's happening, and it's very exciting.
Wow.
Yes, and we should be complaining. We do have a small garage that we can barely fit our two cars and our two trash cans in.
Yes,
and we can't, there's no good place outside the garage. So we are hoping that we can cram them in the garage. And they were delivered but we still have the old ones and we can't get rid of the old ones yet. So right now, for sure, they don't fit in the garage because they were delivered and my husband asked my son to put them in the garage. So he did. But then when I tried to pull my car in, I would not be able to open my door and get out. So anyway.
Oh dear. Well, at least it's weather where you can leave things out right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But eventually, are they going to come pick up your old trash cans and dispose of them for you?
No, we have to take them to the dump ourselves.
Oh,
Well,
no, really?
Yeah.
Does it fit in the
In
Can you fit the old trash and the new trash?
Yeah, I don't know.
Wow.
They suggest using them for yard waste because they do pick up like sticks and stuff. But
okay. But those don't need to be in specially configured. There's still a guy jumping out and getting those.
There's still a guy, but I'm not going to do that because I don't want to store them year round for that when I can just buy the big brown bags.
True.
So.
That seems less earth friendly. However,
but they're brown bags.
Investing in plastic.
They're composted.
They're biodegradable.
They're paper.
They still killed a tree, though, didn't they?
Paper. They can compost.
Ah, okay.
Anyway, now you know
the things
more
we worry
than
about.
you ever wanted to know about our municipal sanitation practices. And with that, I will say, welcome to Parenting Roundabout, a weekly podcast about the things that parents are talking about, obsessing about, and complaining about right now. I'm Catherine Haleko, and with me today are Terri Morrow.
Hello.
And Nicole Eridix.
Hello.
And today on the podcast, we're going to talk about parental controls on our speed round, shout out some stuff we like on the Roundabout Roundup, and do some shameless self-promotion. But first, 'tis the season for parent-teacher conferences.
Mm-hmm.
For some of us.
Right.
Others
Some
are
of us
blissfully free.
All done.
But I still got the trauma, so I'm good.
Yeah.
So, Nicole, you've already attended one, is that right?
Yeah. It was a version of a parent-teacher conference.
Okay.
My daughter is, she has what is commonly known as a 504 plan with her school and her education, I should say. And so every year we have to meet to write out some accommodations that her teachers will use to support her learning. So she has ADD and she's very open about it and vocal about it. So she's a fierce self-advocate, so I don't mind saying it publicly.
Yeah.
So she's, we've had these accommodations in place for her since the beginning of high school. And every year we have to meet to do that, much like kids with individual education plans. And then, of course, there are many other types of meetings too. But that was my meeting today. And we had to meet this morning at 7 a.m. That was their first mistake. I don't know why they insist on 7 a.m. meetings at that school, but let me tell you. But no, this has been our fourth year of doing it with this school, and we kind of got it down pat. But it was interesting because the various comments that were coming from around the table were like, wow, this is such an easy 504 plan meeting, because a lot of the teachers were new to Kristen this year. They're like, oh my gosh, this was so quick. This is so easy. This is so smooth. And I'm thinking, wow, what else have you experienced? And so it just kind of made me wonder how or what, like having been a teacher for so long. And so I kind of feel like I have a little bit of insight into how these things are supposed to work. So I doesn't need a lot of preparation, or I don't need a lot of forethought about it when I go into these types of meetings. But it makes me wonder about parents who don't have a lot of background and what that feels like. And just kind of, I wanted to maybe talk about some tips and strategies for getting through those types of meetings, or even just a general parent-teacher conference, the typical one. Yeah. So I'm just kind of, throwing it out there. Like what would, Terri, your kids are done school. Catherine, your kids are getting older. You've been in the system long enough.
But I still have my memories.
what kind of strategies and tips and advice would you give parents who have to go to either these formal meetings, like, well, they're all formal, but these meetings where you're obviously talking about your child's progress or an issue or
as a teacher, what is your position on having the child at the conference? Because starting in about third or fourth grade, my kids have always been in on the conferences. And I feel like it's good news, bad news.
Yeah.
See, I feel as though, in the school districts that I worked in, we always had the kids at the conferences. They were always there because part of the conference was the child showing the parent what they were doing. But I feel like if there was an issue with the child that couldn't be brought up in front of the parent, that should have been talked about long before the conference.
You mean couldn't be brought up in front of the child? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was like if you're bringing that up at that point, you're a little, you've kind of missed the boat. Like it's a little too late. It's kind of like when you get a report card, or your child gets a report card and there's an F on it.
Yeah, you shouldn't be finding that out.
You should know that. Yeah, right. And so that was kind of our approach, was that when issues came up, unless something happened that day and you hadn't had time to phone the parent, so if things were coming up in the class and there were issues with the child, they should have been alerted long before that conference. Yeah. So the conference was more about, the child's strengths and what they were doing well, and then, areas for growth and practice. And it wasn't necessarily about big time problems.
Yeah, it should be more of a
Does that make sense?
Just check in versus here's a huge problem that we are facing, and guess what? This is what's happening.
Exactly.
Yeah, but then I've been to all different sorts of conferences, some of which are just checking in, seeing how your kid is doing, what's going well, what's not. Some of them have been about a specific problem, and that was I would be called in to come in pretty quick to discuss that. And then, of course, the IEP meetings on a regular basis. Well, once a year, and sometimes in between if there are issues. And all of those have different weights and different strategies and different levels of foreboding and trauma. My kids were never all that interested in being involved in them. They are not strong self-advocates. They, don't want to deal with anything stressful. It's like, go ahead,
you
Mom.
can take care of that for me.
I am the one who absorbs all the stress for the entire family. I am what was that from Parks and Rec? Stress ShamWow. I just hook everything up. So, and all, there are some meetings that I don't really necessarily want them there because I know the talk is going to be a little bit brutal in terms of test scores and what these educators really think of their abilities. I don't necessarily want them to know that. But it's useful for me to know so that I can hate them. The appropriate fire of the adequate number of sons.
The appropriate level of fury.
It's like I don't want them mincing words because the kid's sitting there. Although sometimes they do say things in front of the kids that you want to go, what? Why?
What were you thinking? Yeah.
Stop. So oftentimes for IEP meetings, as my kids got to an age where they needed to be there, they would come in for a small and encouraging portion of the meeting, and then they would leave, and then the people would tell me all the reasons why.
Then it would be brass tacks after that.
Yeah. So in terms of advice to give to parents about meetings, really any level of meeting, positive or negative or, life-changing, my first piece of advice would be go. I mean, I know there's some parents who don't engage at all. And I know what happens to your kids. We talk about, the greasy, the squeaky wheel getting the grease. And that is definitely true. If you are the parent who is constantly in there calling meetings, attending meetings, bringing things up, suggesting things.
Right.
I mean, I would always try to go to a meeting with some ideas and suggestions of my own. That's another suggestion. If you know that there's a problem, don't go in there and say, okay, solve my problem. Go in there and say, how about if we did this? How about if we did that? They may not like your solutions, but at least you're bringing something to the party. But if you don't go at all, then, your kid either gets victimized or ignored. And neither of those things are acceptable. That's not what you want. I mean, the meetings are often excruciating. I don't blame people for not wanting to engage and just saying it's the school's problem, let them solve it. It's eventually going to be your problem again.
Yeah.
And you might as well get in there, because sometimes just bad ideas get put into place and you need to be there to go, I don't think so. Or that's against the law, or, that's never going to work and here's why. Or, gee, last year the teacher did this. Could you do this? You're like the historian for your child. Don't assume that the teachers communicate with each other necessarily.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, sometimes there's new teachers, but sometimes even your fourth grade teacher doesn't want to go sit down with the third grade teacher and say, okay, tell me everything. They want to start fresh. There's this idea that we're going to start fresh. We're not going to bring any of that old baggage. Well, yeah, but if the third grade teacher put tennis balls on the bottom of the desk and then my kid rocking in his desk didn't matter, I would like the fourth grade teacher to put tennis balls on the desk. Why wait 3 months to figure that out? So that's something else that you can always bring is write down things that worked in the past and spread the word. So, but you can't do any of that if you don't go. Just suck it up, just schedule in some crying time afterwards and just go.
And it makes me sad to think that it's something that parents don't dread or don't look forward to or worried about or scared. It's honestly, it just makes me really disappointed that we've set it up that way, that it's been set up that way.
Yeah, especially IEP meetings are set up. I mean, I always looked forward to it because it was my one time of year to talk about my kid, and I always like to do that. But just the way they're structured, you are one parent, and then there's this table full of people with degrees and expertise and numbers. And we know everything, and you are just the parent. We know everything about the school. Just sign this, will you please? It's really intimidating. And anybody who says that they don't mean it to be that way is lying. That's what they want. I really believe it. And if I were them, I would want that too. You know what? If I had a caseload of 50 kids to get through, or gosh, more than that, I'm sure. If I had hundreds of files on my desk, all of them needing IEPs, all of them needing parents to go along, I don't want to go in there and spend 2 hours arguing with somebody. I want to be able to say, I went to school for this. I'm with your kid every day in school. I know things. The teacher knows things. Just listen to us. But you still have to go in there, with your slingshot and try to knock something down. Because, I don't think you want to be the parent who goes in there hungry for blood, because there are parents like that too. There are parents who, I swear, must have the shrunken heads of child study team members hanging from their rearview mirror. They just want to go in there to knock heads, and that's not helpful. But you gotta stand up for your kid one way or the other. Whether it's the pleasant, let's talk about how great your kid is doing. You want to be there for that. Who doesn't want to hear that? And you want the teacher to know, hey, anytime you have good news for me, I will come. I will bring you cookies. Tell me all about it. But when it's bad stuff, you got to be there, and you got to know what people are saying and how they're doing it, and you got to be able to put a flag on the play or something. But it's hard. Yeah. It's hard, and it's intimidating, and it's stressful, and afterwards you will want to sit in a dark room with some good chocolate and a wet rag and just feel your feelings.
What about you, Catherine, from your perspective and your experience?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had to do IEPs or what's the one your daughter has? I know. 504.
504.
I haven't had to do that. But I have been surprised a few times. I have gone to a meeting and found out, just little things like they haven't been doing their work, or that's not a little thing, but, things that probably should have been brought to my attention earlier. Like one time it wasn't, it was actually the report card, not the parent-teacher conference, but my kid was tardy, like, every day, and I had no idea.
Wow.
Like, I
They don't
was
call you?
dropping her off at the appropriate time, and she was just, like, slow getting from the parking lot to the school to the seat or something. And I didn't find out until I got the the report card. So yeah, that would have been something that I would like to have been alerted to earlier. We just started going earlier, and then it was fine, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't say anything about it to you.
No, of course not.
I wonder if they thought that were they giving her things to give to you and she didn't, or did they just think that she would mention it? Did they tell her to mention it?
I'm not sure. She was pretty little, so
if they're young, just a note would be so helpful. We noticed that she's having trouble getting to class on time. Perhaps you could
wake up earlier, get a move on, people.
Perhaps we could adjust the time of school to be more to your convenience.
That would be nice too.
Let us know.
I found especially in high school, they are quite perfunctory usually. If you get, they're scheduled in 10-minute increments. But I may have mentioned this, that, one time I went to a high school one, and my daughter's teacher said, it was after we had, I don't remember what time of year it was, but the teacher told me that she should have been in an advanced math class. And he had tried to move her to another section, but there was no room. But next year she should enroll in the advanced level. Mm-hmm. And I swear, if I hadn't gone to that conference, I would not have known this.
Wow.
He never told me. I mean, maybe if he didn't see me then, he would have contacted us. It didn't feel like that,
right.
Yeah.
I was like, that
you do learn things.
Useful information, thanks for telling me.
Right.
So
that's why you got to go. Because even if it doesn't seem like, even if you think, well, I really don't have it, there's really nothing going on, everything's going fine, the grades are fine, there's nothing I need to know. Sometimes stuff crops up, or sometimes you can say something that will be useful to the teacher. Mm-hmm. If there's something going on at home, or if your child has a particular interest or strength that you want to mention, that can come in handy. Sometimes you find that out just by chatting.
Seeing the environment itself and knowing who the different people are, putting names to faces.
Which is why I always go to back to school night, unlike other parents who blow it off.
I also, with the high school ones, I ask my student which ones that she thinks I should make a special point of talking to.
Yeah.
And she, I make her explain her answer. So,
and then she says, well, definitely don't go to this teacher. You don't want to talk to this teacher.
Then it's like first one on my list. Exactly.
Schedule that one.
Yeah. But I think that has been valuable too. Talk to this one because, I feel like I'm not doing that well, but I don't know why, or whatever, she has some insight onto why it might be a valuable conversation. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think just from a teacher's perspective, it just makes it so much harder when you're, there's a strained relationship between the teacher and the parent. It just makes your job so much harder. Yeah. So I don't know why you would, I don't know. I just feel like why you would, I don't know. I wouldn't say kind of create, but why?
Yeah.
Well, why you wouldn't put in that little bit of effort to
I mean,
get to know the person a little. I mean,
know where they're coming from, know what the issues are before a big meeting.
Right.
One of Kristen's teachers this year, she couldn't make it to the IEP, and so she sent me this long, email about why she couldn't be there, and what the progress that Kristen is making, and some various things that she was asking about. And I thought, yeah, okay, you're going out of your way to do that, because not a lot of teachers would do that, but it sure does you well, right? Because now I feel like, oh wow, she just didn't feel like showing up to the meeting. There's a reason, and she's interested in my kid,
right?
And she's establishing a rapport with me so that if there is a problem, she can easily connect with me. So
yeah, and as a parent, you can do that too. If you have like an IEP meeting or a 504 meeting or anything coming up, you can, call a meeting with the teacher before that and just say, I just want to know before I go into the meeting, what are your thoughts on this? Or, just write a note or something like that just to check in so you don't get blindsided by stuff. And sometimes, there's been times where the teacher and I have strategized together, and then we've gone into it as sort of a team saying, this is what we think should be on the IEP. And it works, it's worked out well for both of us, whereas the other people are not necessarily knowing what's going on directly in the class or what's going on in the homework at home. And so, you don't have to just wait for somebody to invite you in. You could say, hey, could we have a meeting? Or could, you can send an email and see if you can email with the teacher about something. And just, I'd like to check in with you before the IEP meeting.
And that's a really good point. These dates are not set in stone. You can contact the teacher and the child study team at any point in the school year. And call a meeting.
Yeah, one year I was, a number of years, I was volunteering at the middle school and in the library. And the library is right across from where the child study team office was. And they were like in a closet, basically, with a door, one of those Dutch doors that like the top was open and the bottom was closed. It was a terrible environment for them. But I could peek in, and if I saw they weren't doing anything, they didn't have a meeting, I would, go and say hello and talk a little bit about how my kid was doing. And so we were in constant touch all through the year. And that worked out really well. Because then when we sat down at a meeting, we all knew each other. They knew I wasn't breathing fire. I knew they knew who my kid was and cared about him. And, sometimes we just kind of fixed things on the fly. As the year went by. They may have talked about me when I wasn't there, but I felt good about it. Mrs. Squirrel's coming. Shh, shh. Hide that. Hide that effigy we have on the wall.
Yeah, so, I think if anybody is wondering or concerned, I think it's safe to say that we've given them a good foundation.
That's right. Wouldn't it be nice if we could, have a device that we could program those meetings into and just, hit a button and they would happen and they would go our way and everybody would read off the closed captioning exactly what we want them to say. For our speed round today, we were thinking about the ways that you can program your TV, you can program your child's laptop, and you can even program your router with parental controls to keep your kid from doing things you don't want them to do. And so we got to thinking about whether there are other areas in our lives that we would like to password protect. I would like one of those things like they have in The Good Place that automatically substitutes the bad words that you say with fork and shirt and ash. That would be handy. That would be like a password protected
filter,
language filter. That would be cool. That would make my life a lot easier. Nice. Catherine, what would you like to be able to password protect and parental control in your home life?
Well, this I'm stealing from Nicole because she mentioned cereal, and my follow-up was not just the cabinet where the cereal is, but the entire kitchen. Like you need approval before you take anything, because number one, some people in my house have a problem with portion control. And, if you buy something that, maybe is more of a treat, and should not be consumed in large quantities. And then, oh, look, it's gone.
Yes.
Hours after you came back from the supermarket. So I would like a lot more control over what everyone is eating.
Yes, I would like some sort of electronic tether involved in boxes of snack foods.
Yes.
So I don't have to say, put out a portion and sit at the table and eat it. Do not walk around with your hand in a bag for 15 minutes. There should be, if you like get too far away from the table, you get a jolt of electricity through the bag into your cell.
And the bag just closes.
It clamps down.
And maybe your hand is stuck in it. Oh, wow.
Like the Venus flytrap.
Yes.
Exactly.
Because I get tired of saying that, and I get tired of picking up Cheez-Its off the floor. Just measure out half a cup, sit at the table and eat it, just like I have to on Weight Watchers.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, so I would want, a force field of some kind around the whole kitchen.
And then you just like bring the wall down periodically when it's mealtime, and then zip goes back.
Yeah, exactly. Also, like in A Good Place, the cocoon.
I was just going to say the same thing. There are times when you would like to just be able to go around and point at somebody and they've got, the cocoon on. Then you can take it off later, but Nicole has no idea what we're talking about, but we'll have to send you a video, Nicole, so you can see what we mean.
Yeah.
Somebody talks back to you.
You had some other good ideas, Nicole.
Well, I would like one of those or a passcode or something on the door to my linen closet where my bath towels are kept.
Oh.
It seems as though my kids can go through a half a dozen in a day.
Really?
Easily. And I'm constantly washing bath towels, which I don't, I'm glad that they're staying clean, but come on, really? Do we need to use 6 different towels in a day when you're only having one shower? Maybe 2.
Oh, my daughter has taken on responsibility for washing both her towel and her brother's, and it is glorious.
I would
that
love
bathroom
to do
is
that.
just on cruise control. I don't have to deal with it. I just have to deal with my own towels. But
no.
yeah,
Send her my way. And our front closet where the shoes and the outdoor wear, the jackets and whatnot are kept, because what happens is that they enter and with them comes about 50 different pairs of shoes that, they only choose one from, and everything else is left lying around. So I would like some control over how often they go into it and what they bring out. And I'd like to be standing there. No, put those back. No, do not leave those there. Are you really going to wear those with that outfit? So I would like some control over that. And the dishwasher. Well, the kitchen. That's the whole thing, right? The kitchen.
Yeah.
There's just so many issues that happen in our kitchen.
I know Catherine wants to program the dishwasher in some way so that nobody else can put stuff in it.
No, they just need to. It should come with like a little video diagram. Like if you approach the dishwasher with a particular item, then maybe only the appropriate place on the dishwasher can be available to you to put.
Oh, yeah.
So that they don't put, the plastic on the bottom rack and, put things in so janky that you can't put anything else in. Like, come on, guys.
Like a loud noise goes off if you put it in the wrong place.
System, exactly.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we can extend this to animals. What I would like right now, I have a dog who is not eating as much as she should, and possibly it's gastrointestinal issues, and possibly it's trying to manipulate me to cook her things. I'm not sure which, but if I close the door to the room where her food bowl is, oftentimes she will finish things. That seems a little mean, and also it involves me going up and down stairs a lot. So what we need is some sort of, they have invisible fences for dogs to keep them in, right? We need like an invisible fence within a manageable distance around the food bowl, that until the food bowl is empty, she can't get out of it. She has to stay there. That would probably be inhumane.
Well, they do. I know they have,
but
for
convenient
for cats at least, or maybe maybe you could use it for dogs too. It's like a food bowl that's has like a cover, and it has like an RFID tag on it, and then the animal wears a matching collar, so that only that particular animal can eat from that bowl. Like if you have one that steals from the other, which used to be a big problem in my house. The one would always steal the other one's food. So you would set it up so that they can only... It's pretty slick.
Quite a technological response to... That's interesting. Yes, well, it seems like they should be able to get some sort of parental control on the dog dish. Eat the dang kibble. Eat it.
Right.
Eat the fork-in kibble because it would correct
your child's bedroom floor. So, like, if they drop something, it just shoots it back at them.
I like it.
If they throw a piece of clothing on the floor, boom, back at them.
That's excellent. I don't have that problem with my kids, but I would like... I don't know. The only room problem we have right now, and it could be said of my room as well, so I can't be too... But my son's room just needs to be completely cleaned out, dusted. And I would like... Can we get some technological resolution to dust? I guess there's those things that you can turn on in your house that suck all the dust out of the air. Mm-hmm. But dust that has already landed, does it get
it's
that
like
too?
The room, you need like a Roomba, but it has to be able to climb up on things and dust.
Right, right. I need something that just completely... the damage has already been done, and it's just that we can't quite get it together to go and fix everything up. So maybe something that would prevent additional items from being added to the... But it's really... We need to get at things that have been there for years and years and years and untouched. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know what we could do for that.
We do.
But,
we do have
I would like to go away. Pretty bad.
Lots of good ideas here for the technological geniuses among us to get to work on. And that was our...
Yes.
Oh, no. I'm not the one who's supposed to say that was our speed round.
Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah, that'll do us for today. And remember, you can hear a new speed round every Wednesday. I was jumping the gun because it was
my turn to...
Feel free to step on my feet at any time, Catherine, and just do my job.
Ahead that would be excellent. To my segment.
I have parental controls on my outro. If you try to do it, you're going to be locked out of the podcast.
Hi, we hope you're enjoying this episode of Parenting Roundabout. We're not one of those podcasts that's trying to sell you websites or mattresses or meal kits. I mean, we totally would, but no one's asked us yet.
There is, however, something you can do that costs you nothing, but will put a little change in our pockets. Listen to our podcast on the Radio Public app. Download the app to your iPhone or Android device and listen to Parenting Roundabout there, and we'll get paid for each listen. Plus a little more if you listen a lot.
We think you'll enjoy listening to all your podcasts on this app, but if you could at least listen to Parenting Roundabout there, we'd be very grateful. Now, back to the episode.
So now on our Roundabout Roundup, we will bring you some of the things we've read or seen or used recently that we want to shout out and share with you. Nicole, what do you have?
Well, this comes to mind because I was just in the process of using it earlier on, and that is Uber Eats. I am a big fan of Uber Eats these days because, my husband being in the hospital, and which I mentioned on an earlier podcast, and just, things have been kind of a little chaotic around here lately, and I haven't really felt like making anything for dinner, and I haven't really felt like actually going out and picking it up, so I've been using Uber Eats.
Now, what is that exactly? They bring you food?
Yeah, so they go to pretty much any restaurant, like even McDonald's and Subway and such. Not that I would really want to waste my money getting Uber Eats from there, but they will go to a restaurant and pick up your order for you and bring it to you. So you
that's
order
kind of cool.
Online through them, and then they'll bring you your food to your door.
And then if you're at the hospital and they're bringing you food, are they bringing you food there as well? Or you just, when
They
you get
can.
home, you don't, so you just like meet them in the lobby or they come up to the room?
Yeah.
Depending on visiting hours?
You can meet them anywhere. I mean, I know my husband uses it when he travels for business, and say if he arrives like late in the evening or whatnot, and he hasn't eaten all day, he'll use Uber Eats, and he'll just go into the lobby and meet them. I did not know there was such a thing.
That is cool. How much does it cost extra?
There's usually like a $4 or $5 delivery fee.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's pretty good.
If you wanted them to like go, someplace an hour away and get you something, they'd probably charge more, right? It's probably a radius in which they'll go get stuff.
Yeah, I think they have a radius.
If you called and said, I'd like a piece of New York pizza, could you drive there?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
I need ketchup chips. Can you drive to
exactly.
Drive to Canada for me?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, yours is food related too, huh?
Mine is food related as well, yes. As you are listening to this, I will have been to the gluten-free, allergen-free Expo in Secaucus, New Jersey, the weekend immediately prior. However, since we are recording this before that weekend, I can't tell you the great things I tasted. I will do that next week. But you can go look at our Parenting Roundabout Twitter feed. I will be taking pictures of things and commenting on them as I walk around. And so you can look back over that and see some of the neat stuff that was there. Our Twitter feed is at Roundabout Chat. And you can also, we'll have in the show notes the link to the expo, and you can go on there and see all the different sponsors that were there. If there is one of these coming to a place near you, and you are looking for gluten-free food, let me again put in a pitch that it is a very cool event to attend. You get to taste a lot of things. You get coupons. You get information. You can talk to people who are experts in cooking with gluten-free foods and allergy-friendly foods, and get a lot of information. It's a lot of fun. And if you don't want to pay to go, you can usually volunteer for some time to, take money from people coming in and stuff like that, and then you get a free admission. So no excuses not to go.
Nice. And I'm just going to mention something. It sparked my memory when Nicole mentioned about her daughter's ADHD. There's a YouTube channel called How to ADHD. And so maybe you've seen it. It's a young woman, and she's got a lot of great stuff. And a friend of mine, her daughter is a big fan. Her daughter, who has ADHD, obviously, is a big fan of this channel. And she actually got the opportunity to meet the person who does it and film a video with her about classroom-friendly fidgets.
Oh, wow.
And they brought out a whole big range of different fidget toys and talked about, this one's good because it's quiet, or this one's good because you can do it with one hand, or whatever. And she just did such a great job. Both of them, the host and then this girl who is a friend of ours. And I just thought she really rocked this YouTube video. So check that out.
That's cool. Will do. That's awesome. Well, let's move on to our final segment for today. We're going to do a little shameless self-promotion and direct you to some things on our sites that we think you should take a look at. Terri, what do you have for us?
Since we were talking about parent-teacher meetings and IEPs and all that good stuff, I'm going to direct folks to a page on my website, Mothers with Attitude, that has some documents for parents to give to teachers about different things. There's a behavior plan I did for my son when it took the behaviorist 6 months to come in and do one. So I just wrote one up, and the teacher liked it, and we wound up implementing it. There are different notes I've written explaining different things about my kids' behavior that I've given to teachers that might be useful for people to print out and, fine-tune for their particular kid. There's a Google Drive folder of materials on fetal alcohol spectrum disorder that I put together for a teacher when my son was in college. So there's all different things there that you may be able to adapt to your own uses, or just to see how other parents have communicated issues to teachers that may inspire you to find a way to do the same. And if you have a particularly good one that you're proud of, send it to me and I'll put it up there.
Great. Catherine, how about you?
I don't have too much new today, so I'll just mention our Instagram over our PR podcast Instagram is a fun way to just get a little dose of our wonderful witticisms in your Instagram feed every day. So
I enjoy seeing them there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't have a lot going on either these days, so I will just direct our listeners to my Twitter account, my inclusive_class Twitter account. And it's primarily for parents with children or even educators or anybody who works with children who have learning attention issues, special needs, and are wanting to learn more strategies for successfully teaching and including them in the classroom. So you can check out my Twitter account.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of Parenting Roundabout. We hope you enjoyed it and that you'll join us every week. You can listen to podcast episodes on Radio Public or download them from Apple Podcasts. Please subscribe so that you get all of our podcasts and mini podcasts.
You can also follow us on Twitter, where I am at Nicole Erdix, Catherine is at CHaleko, and Terri is at Momitude. You can also follow the podcast on Twitter at Roundabout Chat and look for us on Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, YouTube, and Instagram too.
Best of all, stop by our podcast page at parentingroundabout.com and read recaps, find links on everything we've mentioned, and talk back in the comments. Thanks to John Morin at johnjmorin.com for providing our in and out music. And I wish everyone a great week.